Moving abroad is impossible for Black women. Lies, lies, lies. That is so not the truth. And both Maya and I are here because we are proof of it. And not to mention, there is a whole community growing rapidly who are following Exodus Summit of Black women who are leaving the States. So we want to share just a little bit of our experience to help you see just how real this could be. So I'm really excited because Maya and I, actually, let me get it right. Dr. Maya and I are going to be doing a session at Exodus Summit just coming in the next couple weeks over the weekend of October 11th through the 14th. But Dr. Maya and I today, we're going to share a little bit of our story. We're going to tell you where we moved, how we afforded the move, how we ended up making all of it happen, and how you can make that leap too. Okay. So before I go any further, I really want to shout out one of my favorite videos from them. It's called Why We Left the USA and You Should Too. We're all telling you that this is a thing and it's a good thing, especially for Black women. If you're on this channel, you're on this channel because you're a Black woman who's like, listen, I am tired. I'm tired of being a strong Black woman and I'm ready to do something different. So these videos are for you. So make sure you check that video out too. Dr. Maya, hi. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad we got on this call. Y'all, the internet wasn't trying to let us be great, but we persevered and we're here to do
Persevere.
this video anyway,
We're
okay?
here. Yes. Yes. Anyway, moving on.
Exactly, exactly. So we're going to start this off with where did we move? So Dr. Maya, tell everybody where you moved and how you liked it.
Okay. So I moved to Valle du Par, Colombia. And I
Yes.
lived in Colombia. Yes. I lived in Colombia for an entire year. This was from 2021 until 2022.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So it was kind of like over the end of the pandemic, right?
Yes, yes. It was literally, I left right after the start of the pandemic. At that time, COVID was still a little running a little rampant, but we were not like required to mask up anymore. But a
Mm.
lot of people still were. Yes.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Similar to my story. So, you guys, I went to Costa Rica and I was in Costa Rica pretty much the whole year of 2021. And let me tell you, I know everybody was trying to be buckled down, but it was the best time to get up on a flight. So, I went on and took that opportunity. And it turned out great for me, obviously, after spending a year in Costa Rica. So, that being said, like this, moving to another country is a big move, and a lot of people are really scared about how much it's going to cost. They think only rich people could do it, or you have to have a pile of money, or you have to have a remote job already ready. Like, neither one of us really fell into that exact mold. So tell everybody, like, how did you end up? What was the situation and how you moved to Colombia?
Yeah, so I had just graduated with my doctorate from Washington University in St. Louis. And at that time, I was interested in doing a postdoc. I'm really interested in studying Afro Latin populations. So, because in South America, Colombia has the second largest population of Afro Latin people. The first is going to be Brazil. I don't speak Portuguese at all. I've studied Spanish my whole life. So obviously, it made sense for me to choose Colombia. And so that's why I settled on there as a place. And in addition to that, Colombia at the time did not have to have a certain amount of money in your bank account in order
Mm.
to be able to go. They just wanted to see that you had money at some point coming in to your bank account. And so it just felt like the right choice. It was also still kind of close to the US if I felt like I needed to come back. And yeah, I went out there to do research.
I love that. I also have to like pause for a second. So here's the thing for all of us Black women who have gone to school many, many times because we are so educated, like we know we ain't never had a hard time getting a degree. Okay. If you thought that you couldn't move to another country, Dr. Maya is showing us maybe that degree might be the pathway to get you there. Like, come on, don't sit on that. Like, that's an amazing opportunity. So, for clarity's sake, when you say a postdoc, what does that mean?
Yeah. Okay. So a postdoc means that you graduated obviously with your doctorate, and it's kind of like a gap year before you go into your official position. So they allow you to take more time to do research, to like do publications, kind of like because in grad school we had to do a lot of work that might have been centered around our advisor's work or the committee's work. But the postdoc gives you a time to be individual and just do the work that you're trying to do for a year before, for example, you become a professor. Then you already have a few publications under your belt. I also wanted to mention that you make a very, very good point about education in Black women. I know a lot of random facts, but Black women are actually the model minority in the US right now, meaning that
Mm,
we are the most educated population of all ethnic groups, of all gender groups, most educated. That is us. So you're absolutely right. We had no problem getting degrees, but I think kind of leveraging the degree can sometimes be an issue for us. No
mm,
fault of our own, more about like exclusive systems that don't allow us to do that. So I would just say there are ways to go abroad if you are super educated or if you have a bunch of degrees. These are always like a Fulbright. I know people that did Fulbrights and they might have taught abroad, or they might have conducted research abroad, doing a postdoc. Of course, like I mentioned, you have to have a doctorate degree, of course, to do that. Or even if you're at the university, they have study abroad programs that could allow you to go for a semester or for a year. And sometimes, like I'm a social worker, for our field social work program, our field internship, you could go abroad. And I know people that went to like Ghana or went to Switzerland or India for that entire semester. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. There's so many opportunities to go abroad if you are in school and if that's something you're interested in.
girl, there needs to be a whole video on how to go abroad as a super educated Black woman. We're gonna have to come back and do a whole second video for that. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put that on the docket. All right, all right. Okay.
I got you. I got you. I got you. It's on there.
All right, all right. So back to today's conversation. So we just talked about how Dr. Maya moved, but I moved on a different situation. Again, not the most standard way that you hear people move abroad. I just happened to be the person that actually moved abroad. For one, I did a study abroad program in Rome for 3 months, but then I also did a year-long mission trip to 11 countries over 11 months. And then I came back and I did a 3 year mission trip after that. And then I came back and I did a leadership study abroad after that. So, for pretty much on and off for 3 years, I did some form of Christian outreach in a different country. And that is what allowed me to be able to, or one of the ways that has allowed me to live abroad. And then coming back from that, I made some really good friends while I was traveling. And I had friends that lived in Costa Rica. So how I actually got to Costa Rica was via the missionary state, the missionary path. But it was actually that I had some amazing friends that lived in Costa Rica, and they invited me to come and enjoy it. And it was the pandemic, and I had no reason to say no. So after visiting them for 2 weeks, I came back to the States, packed up all my stuff, put it in storage, and went back to Costa Rica for a year. And that was the full year of 2021. And it was magical. It was really the first, I will say, first real rest that I had. The first real rest that I had while reconnecting back to who I was and everything that I wanted to do post being in corporate America and post being an international missionary. So, I also think that leads very closely into like, how do you afford it? How do you afford living in a country, another country for a year? And again, we've kind of had different experiences on how we've done that. So tell us, Dr. Maya, how much money did you have like set aside for your move when you went to Colombia?
Okay, so when I moved, I actually had about 15,000 already in the bank, just money that I had saved from being in school. I was on a fellowship. So, again, when we talk about being in school, you can save money while you're in school to prepare you for the move abroad. But I want you all to know that you don't necessarily always have to have that much money in the bank account in order to be able to go. Like I mentioned, at that time, Colombia did not have a specific amount that you needed in the bank account. So you always want to check what country you're interested in. Mexico has a solvency where they require a certain amount, and it sometimes is like 30 to 50,000. It changes every single year. What I went on in Colombia was something called a volunteer visa. And
Mm.
they just kind of wanted to see that you would not be working in the country, that you already had something outside of the country. And I had to get a letter written that I was going to be a volunteer. So there's all different types of visas that you can get, some requiring certain amounts of money, some not requiring those. And you just have to read the details on that. But yeah, I was a volunteer.
Yeah. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think knowing what visa you're going to use to go to a country is one of the biggest determining factors on how much you're going to need. And if you don't know this, Exodus Summit is going to help you figure out all of those details. So, shameless plug right here. Like, if you have not bought your Exodus Summit ticket for 2024, happening in just a couple weeks, then you need to go on and get your ticket. And if this is after that week, then you need to go on and get the replays, because Exodus Summit is going to help you figure out the health insurance, the visas, the move abroad money, the remote work, like literally everything you can want to know about helping make this a real thing. Exodus Summit is going to help you do that. So make sure you head to the description and get the ticket. Okay, I'm back on it. So the way that I actually did it. So the first time when I did international missions, it was fundraising. So we fundraised about $15,000, and that's what allowed me to go on that trip. But when I actually just went to Costa Rica, by that time I was working in my job, but I have to say what really made it possible was living in community. And there's going to be a video about living in community in Exodus Summit as well. So I was able to afford to go there because I had friends that had an extra room and was like, "Girl, come on, be with us. Like, uh be in our family." And I was like, "Yes, let's do this." And so I think there's something really beautiful to opening ourselves up to living in community, and also experiencing other countries in community, because you don't realize how important it is to have people that understand you culturally, that understand like your isms and all of those things without having to explain them to them until you actually don't have them. You don't realize that how important they are until you don't have them, which reminds me that Dr. Maya and I, when we get in our session inside of Exodus Summit, we're going to be talking about our move abroad fails. And I'm going to give you just a little nugget. That's one of them, was like making sure that you have good community when you get to another place, or else it will make it a lot harder. So, that was the biggest thing that made it easier for me to move to Costa Rica. So how much did I have? I think at that point I probably had 10,000 in the bank, just because I had saved when I had moved to Costa Rica. But it wasn't because I needed that kind of money to get there. It was more so that I had just been saving at that point. And so when I went on a tourist visa, because a tourist visa works by every 90 days, nobody was checking my bank account or asking me how much money. Anytime I went to go through customs, they literally just looked at my passport, but I had to leave in 90 days. So that meant that every 90 days I had to do a border run, which means I had to leave the country for a minimum of 24 hours, whether I went back to the States, I went to another country, neighboring country, or whatever I wanted to do. I had to leave Costa Rica for 24 hours and then come back in, and they would renew my 90 days that I could be in Costa Rica. So that was how much I had when I moved, and kind of how I made it work. So, Dr. Maya, like, now, especially because I know that you've been to Exodus Summit, what would you say what has been the best thing that you could have learned that helped you move abroad?
Yeah, this is a great question. So I will also advocate for Exodus Summit. I've gone for 2 years in a row. This is my first time presenting. This makes it 3 years in a row. And it is an incredible group of women. I have been searching my entire life for community,
Mm, mm,
especially amongst Black people, to be able to talk about travel. I've traveled to Argentina when I was only 16, and I have been looking my entire life for a community, and I finally found it in Exodus Summit. It took so long to get there, but I am so thankful. So I want to tell you all about two people that were like really instrumental in changing my life in Exodus Summit. One of them is not presenting, the other one is. The first one is Christian Wright. She talks about she's from Black Sit Global. That's the name of her company. So if you're interested, you can get more information about that. And she talked about country scouting. I had never done country scouting before. I had studied abroad as an exchange student, or as I mentioned, I did a postdoc. So I kind of never really got to get a feel of a country before I actually lived there. That was never a thing. I've lived in 5 countries: Colombia, as you all know, Costa Rica. I also lived in Costa Rica too, Argentina, the Dominican Republic, and Spain. And I never went to any of these countries prior to living there. So I had never done country scouting. So I'm like, what is this? And then
mhm,
I learned it's like dating, right? You like try
mhm.
out something to see if you like it, and then you settle on it. So since then, from her session on Exodus Summit, I went to Curacao. I went back to Colombia, but a different city, not the one that I actually lived in for a year. And I went to Mexico City to do country dating or country scouting to really get a feel for which country was settled on. Now, I know what y'all gonna think. It's like you literally chose Colombia. You should have already known that. It's not true. Like, there are various things that other places offer. I know that Mexico City is one place that's really hyped up. So I'm like, let me take a look and see what's there. Curacao, black on black on black, which is very, very important to me, very affirming. So I'm like, let me just see. But it didn't matter because my girl Columbia still won. So that was that. But I did get a chance to explore other things. And I have heard people talk about when country scouting, you at least want to have a backup. So I would say, even though Colombia is my number one, Mexico City is my number two.
I
So
love
another
that.
person, thank you. Thank you so much.
I also want to
Another
say,
person,
even though Christian is not presenting this year, there is another person, Anita Turner. She's going to be presenting on October 14th, and her session is called "How to Date a Country Before You Marry It." So, you guys, make sure you check out both. Even if you can get the replays, you can get specifically Christian's perspective, but you can also get Anita's perspective this year as well.
thank you for adding that. You're absolutely right. She definitely does have a session about looking at the country before you marry it. So we should definitely check that out. I will check that out. We all should check that out. So, in addition, the person that will be presenting is Libria Jones. Libria
Mhm,
Jones is the remote job queen. That is what she is known for. That is her bag, helping people get remote jobs. Her biggest thing is that she wants to help mothers to get remote jobs,
mhm,
obviously, to be able to have some rest and a breath, but still be able to get that income that is necessary. So she has a remote ready bundle, and I actually was a part of the remote ready bundle. It gives you advice for cover letters and resumes, interview questions, what to do when you get an offer, how to negotiate an offer. I did it from the beginning all the way to the end. Very, very great bundle that she has, especially if you're just starting off looking for a remote job.
mhm.
Actually, I am happy to report that today, actually today, on LinkedIn has been posted that about my remote job. So I have been holding it, but today it's official. All I need is a whistle. But anyways, so on and regarding that, another person that talked at Exodus Summit who will not be there, but also you can look this person up, is Sojourner White. She also talks about remote jobs, and she has a newsletter you can sign up for, and she will give you specific updates every 2 weeks about remote jobs that she's
Mhm.
found. So these are just some of the amazing people that are at Exodus Summit, and you can get really wonderful information from them. The final thing that I would say, because I know I'm giving you all a lot of information. This is even better than me getting the remote job is my girl Columbia now has the option to get a digital nomad visa for
Mm,
2 years. So
wow.
this means if y'all secure a remote job, this is what I'm telling you. If you talk to Libria, if you get with Sojourner and y'all secure a remote job, you can be in Colombia for 2 years just off that remote job. This is better than the volunteer visa that I got, which was only 1 year, and it was a daunting process where I had to fill out 500 things. But this digital nomad visa, you show that offer letter, you show your health insurance, you show your bank account over 3 months, y'all in there. So if you are interested next year to get out of here before that election or after it, but like shortly after it, Colombia is waiting for you. Digital nomad visa. Let's get into it.
Yes. Yes. Listen, giving you some of the details you need to know right now. And this is just the beginning. Like Exodus Summit is really going to give you everything that you didn't even know you needed to move abroad. And that's why I love it so much. The price is only $299 for the weekend, and that's the all inclusive, the all access pass at that. That's not even the lower level pass. And you literally can make a dream or this idea that hasn't even become a dream yet. You're going to be able to make this reality. Like that is so amazing. And on top of that, like more than anything, I think what we downplay is that moving abroad has the ability to help you reimagine everything that you think your life has to be here in the US. You actually get to see that there's another way. Like you don't have to do things this way. Everything that makes you think that you have to be on all the time, everything that makes you feel like you have to work 10 times harder, like it's not like that everywhere in the world. And you actually get to experience a different way, and you don't have to just choose one place and stay there. Like literally the world is your oyster and there's plenty of opportunity for you to experience so much. So you can have a better quality of life. You can travel to all the beautiful places that you've wanted to be. You can take your family, you can take your kids, you can go on your own. You could make a whole sisterhood. There's so many ways to make this happen for you that I really don't want you to think that anything should hold you back. Like if there's something that you think is holding you back, that's scaring you about moving abroad, I want you to put it down in the comments so that we can answer that question for you even before the summit. And then we want you to get the summit ticket because there's questions that I'm telling you, there's questions that you don't even realize you want to know. You're going to get the answers for it when you get to Exodus Summit. And the other thing that I love about this, because I always have to bring it back to being able to create this better quality of life without working ourselves to death, without having to be this endlessly strong Black woman, without having to work, 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 work. You can actually have this better quality of life without doing any of those things. So we can't stress enough that this is something that you need to check out. And we're excited that during the summit, Dr. Maya and I are going to be giving you a list of things to look for. We're going to be sharing stories of our move abroad fails so that hopefully you could learn a thing or two and avoid them, or at bare minimum know how to adjust if if you end up in the same situation that we did. Okay? Okay. So, wrapping up, Dr. Maya, let's take a second. Tell everybody who you are and what you do so that they can continue to connect with you after this video.
Okay, hi everybody. I am Dr. Maya Angelica Williams. I have a bachelor's degree in Spanish and International Studies, and I have a master's and a doctorate in social work. I am very, very passionate about studying abroad, living abroad, working abroad, just being abroad in general. I have traveled to 45 countries and I have been to 5 territories, and I have just had a great time throughout my life being able to see the entire world. I am now a remote worker starting this week, okay? A remote worker, and I work as a data specialist for a nonprofit organization that is helping youth that are out of work and out of school. So I am extremely passionate about working with marginalized communities, extremely passionate about going abroad and Spanish speaking. And the most important thing that you need to know about me is that I'm always hold it down for Black women and girls. My
Hmm.
research for My dissertation focuses on Black girls and colorism. Black women and girls are the center of my focus and of my life. So I am always advocating for you all, even if you feel lost or like you don't know what the next move is, always know that I'm in your corner.
Yes, come on. And this is one of my things that I appreciate so much about Exodus Summit. You can't walk without running into another Black woman who is so passionate about us. And I just think that collective, that community, that coming together is so, so, so powerful. So I'm so excited and I'm so glad that I get to present with her. It's going to be an awesome, amazing time already because we've already been doing this, and I'm excited for it to continue.
Me too. Me too. I'm so happy that we're connected with each other. And this is another thing that Exodus Summit does is it
Mhm.
brings other wonderful people in your life that maybe you would have never even connected with. I do want to drop another person's name while we're dropping all these people. The founder, actually, if you don't mind looking up her name, the founder of the Expat app. I think her last name is Winter. She is actually presenting at Exodus Summit as well. I think she's talking about healthcare, but she
Ah,
created an app. Okay, please.
yes. So that's Sherilyn Winter, and her talk is called Health Insurance Abroad.
Perfect. So she is presenting and she created an expat app specifically for Black people. It
Mm,
is an app of Black people all over the world that you can connect with. They're already there. Maybe they're going to the country you're interested in. There are options by each region in the world, and you can literally talk to Black people that are already there about going abroad. If you have questions, if you need help with moving, if you need help with packing, if you're just not sure yet, she created that app and she's going to be at Exodus Summit. And I literally just connected with her today. And she is like, yeah, I'm glad you use my app. I'm like, absolutely. I've been following you for a year. So it's stuff like that where I just couldn't even imagine that I would meet and talk to some of these fantastic minds. They're at Exodus Summit.
yeah. Yeah. Really blessed for us to be having this opportunity. It gets me so excited. All right, you guys. Well, I'm Rashida and I'm your dream strategist. I help Black women quit being a strong Black woman, redefine who they are beyond their job title, and take actions to become that Black woman, that one that stands in her power without all of that drama and baggage that's hold us back, because we deserve a life of ease, a life of travel, or whatever dreams that you have. So I on this channel will be talking more about everything that connects to that, from how do we travel more, how do we literally work less and live more at home when we're not traveling, how do we change our mindset to actually receive the rest that we deserve. So if that sounds exciting to you, make sure that you take a second to subscribe, but more importantly than anything, go get your ticket for Exodus Summit.
Get your
Don't make me tell
ticket.
you
Go
again.
get your ticket. Go get your ticket. Go get your ticket.
So yes, that's what we got on here to do today. We wanted to make sure that you know that it's coming. So go ahead, head to the description, sign up for your ticket, and we will see you shortly. Thank you so much for taking a second to watch this video. And Dr. Maya, thank you for getting on this recording with me today.
No problem. I wish you all the best of luck. And if you need any help, we are at Exodus Summit and we can answer your questions.
All right, have a great day.